Good evening. I am Mariam Abdul-Kawi, and here's what's ahead for you on 7 News tonight. The BTL acquisition of Smart and 3 cable companies tonight. It's in a holding pattern. We'll tell you why. And the independent senators are rattling their sabers. We'll tell you the meaning of their unified bloc against what they call a sordid deal. Plus, Belize's two-time Tony Award-winning Broadway star, Cara Young. She was at the Bird's Isle today for the unveiling of her Alex Sanker portrait. You'll see it. These stories and much more are ahead on 7 News tonight, so please stay tuned.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
The roads of Belize connect us all. Riders, drivers, families, friends. Every day begins with a little routine and the confidence that life's journeys are protected. From school drop-off through the daily grind and everything in between, each with different roads ahead, yet one common goal: to arrive safely. Atlantic Insurance stands with Belize's riders and motorists with affordable protection, support, and peace of mind for the journey ahead. For the roads we share and the lives we protect, Atlantic Insurance is by your side, ensuring you from life's unexpected. Atlantic Insurance, ensuring you from life's unexpected.
What are the rate for tonight, man?
20 piece. For the 4 and turn that back way.
Right, 20.
Play 5 shilling. I said that the rate. I know baby play 1, 2, and 3. I want to try call it quick now.
Bolito just got easy. Now you can play your lucky rake with DigiWallet. Register and cash in to get started. Download the Bolito app and set DigiWallet as your pay and payout method.
Bolito win.
Get in it.
Name me 3 tongues in country, I believe.
2 tongues? Old tongue?
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see
This is
them
the map of
blue,
Belize.
Fire, reef, and blue ball.
and I think
Can
to
anyone
myself,
volunteer to fight?
what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue.
We want you to see what it is your parents do, how hard they work for you.
Bright, blessed day, the dark, sacred night.
Uncle Cordell.
Think to myself,
Like you want chocolate, right? It's fun many times. Lots of work.
At Atlantic Bank, your convenience is our priority. Our contact center is designed to enhance your banking experience. With a wide range of customer service options, you save time and effort. You can easily call in to block or unblock your debit and credit cards, perform account inquiries, and access detailed card information. Whether you need assistance with online banking, merchant support, or general inquiries, our team is ready to help. For added convenience, if all operators are busy, you can leave your number and an operator will return your call as soon as possible to ensure you receive the support you need. Depending on your transaction type, we may need to verify your identity through a set of security questions. And remember, Atlantic Bank will never request your username or password for Atlantic Online via phone call, text, or email, ensuring your personal information remains safe and secure. Our support team is available Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in both English and Spanish. Simply dial 223-1212. This is a dedicated line for our contact center. Atlantic Bank is committed to providing you with exceptional service and the tools you need to manage your finances conveniently and securely. Take full advantage of our easy-to-use contact center services today.
Atlantic Bank.
building the future together.
Drop it like it's hot.
A safer Belize begins with all of us, and the Belize Police Department is taking bold steps to build that future together. The new 2025-2029 Crime Control and Crime Prevention Strategy is transforming policing from the ground up, reforming practices, rebuilding trust, and strengthening accountability. With investments in modern technology, upgraded infrastructure, and smart data-driven tools, officers will respond faster, work smarter, and endeavor to keep communities safer. This plan puts community partnership at its core. It will require more engagement, result in more transparency, and introduce new programs that support our youth, prevent violence, and promote second chances. From fighting gang violence and illegal firearms to confronting emerging threats like cybercrime, the BPD is building stronger, smarter, more specialized teams to protect every Belizean. And with enhanced training and leadership development, our officers are better prepared than ever to serve with integrity and professionalism. The Belize Police Department is rebuilding, reforming, and renewing its commitment to you. Together, we can create a safer, stronger Belize.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
We begin our newscast tonight with BTL's proposed acquisition of Smart, and 3 cable companies is in peril after a day of many major developments, which has put the proposed mega-million-dollar deal under harsh and unfavorable scrutiny. Here to go over this very eventful day with me tonight is News Director Jules Vasquez. Jules, welcome.
Good evening. Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Yes, so let's get right into it. Where do we stand with this proposed deal tonight, Jules?
So where we stand is that a vote on it by the BTL board. The BTL board met at 11 this afternoon and they broke around 2:30 maybe, and the vote has been deferred. A vote was expected today, and they wanted that vote to be favorable to approve the acquisition. But it did not go through because there is a lot of disquiet on the BTL board of directors. The directors feel they're being rushed, feel they're being pushed into a decision. So we have to start the day's events with what happened last night. We reliably informed Miriam that Chandra Nisbet Cancino resigned from the BTL board of directors. Now, she represented Social Security on that board of directors. And so she resigned, and that really is a major setback and an embarrassment for the government. We understand, and we have the updated graphic of the board, so that's one less board member. We understand also that Imogen Habet, who also represents Social Security Board, her resignation may be in the offing or in the wind on its way. Now, they remain members of Social Security's board.
Okay.
Social Security Board had an emergency meeting yesterday, so that board member is gone, and that other board member is in the wind. As I understand it, they feel that critical negotiations and transactions were done or are being done without the proper board involvement and inclusion. And the chair, they believe, or persons on the board believe, certainly Ms. Cancino believed, is my report, the chair refused to disclose documents and agreements to board members. They did not feel comfortable making a decision that will have a long-term effect. This is, let us be clear, a $170 million proposed acquisition. It's not a minor matter. These persons have a fiduciary duty to BTL, but they're also answerable to the Board of Social Security, and they are very cautious about putting Social Security Board money at risk. But everything has become known this week after months of us reporting on it and months of speculation. The board didn't hear anything, and then suddenly this week everything starts to come together, and everybody's being briefed by the chairman, who then can't vote in the board meeting, must recuse himself. So that was very unusual. And the resignation of a prominent board member and a credible board member like Chandra Nisbet Cancino is a huge embarrassment for the government. Because, and it is certainly, I want to stress, for the Prime Minister. Because
why specifically the Prime Minister?
Why specifically the Prime Minister is because the cabinet has not approved this. They don't even know about it. Multiple ministers have told me they don't know anything. It has not gone to cabinet.
Okay.
I know this factually, and I regret to have to report that the Prime Minister, though his family has a vested interest, has personally called to persuade board members to support it. So we have the chairman, whose brother, the chairman, Mark Lizraga, whose brother owns CTI Cable, Next Gen, as it's called. He has been the one massaging the deal. He said he declared his conflict of interest to the board. And then on the other hand, you have the Prime Minister, who has called board members to personally explain to them why it's a good deal and why they should support it. Fine, I am not saying the deal is befouled, but I'm saying as Prime Minister, because of your compromise, because your family companies stand to benefit $45 million from this.
Wow.
You have to maintain more than an arm's length. And that has not happened. The Prime Minister has been actively involved in trying to, I don't want to use the word browbeat, but certainly trying to explain what he feels as the redeeming value of a transaction which will benefit his family directly. So, all this ferment leads to an extraordinary event, which we will show you shortly. The chairman of BTL had a press conference today.
Yes.
You know, it's been many years since we've been into the BTL boardroom, since the press has been invited. And that is really the broad contours of the deal, where Smart will be 80 million and the cable companies are 90 million. And these are approximate figures, and I brought them up today. Nobody challenged them. These are approximate figures, right? They aren't, I can't say that I've seen them on a paper, but many people can't say that they have. But these are the approximate figures of who will benefit from this transaction. And I'm not saying, I want to stress that it's fraudulent, but I'm saying that the actors involved are too conflicted. So the chairman had a press conference today to take on all comers. Respect to that. I believe it should have been done months ago. And for months they've been running away from answering the questions. But he had a press conference, which we will show, saying, bring it on. Did that help? Did that press conference help the public perception of this sale? It is my belief that it did not. It is my belief that it did not. But it's arguable. And you will be able to make your own decision. We'll have much from it. They then went into a board meeting. A number of persons did not attend.
When you say a number of persons, who were those persons that did not attend?
Well, I wasn't there to take roll, but I believe that the company secretary, Who does not have a vote? Melissa Balderrama Smaller did not attend. Chandra Nisbet Cancino had just resigned. She didn't attend. Imogen Habet did not attend. I am told there were a couple other persons who did not attend. And it's not a good look, right? It's not a good look. So the board meeting resolved with inconclusively. They did not take a vote. It was deferred. As I understand it, the SSB, the BTL board will try to get an audience with the SSB board. The SSB board held that emergency meeting yesterday, and I believe they told their directors, not at this time, we need to know more. That is what I believe happened at that meeting. Not at this time, we need to know more. So I believe BTL's Mr. Lizaraga and his financial team will try to convince the SSB board. But while that is happening internally, externally, agitation is building.
Yeah.
So we have critical statements that were released today, and I will go over them in the order they were released. NTUCB issued a statement, and we have the picture of it. The NTUCB statement calls for, it points to the direct exposure of social security funds to what it calls speculative risk. It says that there's an absence of a modern and merger control framework for a regulatory perspective. And it says the failure of the Briceño administration to ensure meaningful public consultation. That's what they're saying. Therefore, the NTUCB calls for the following immediate action: immediate halt all steps towards acquisition. Ensure full and verified disclosure of beneficial ownership. Who's going to get the money? Launch a transparent national consultation. So that's what the NTUCB is calling for. Right? So, and they say at the end on page 2, together we will defend our pensions, our services, and our economy. And they demand responsible stewardship of public assets. A strong and defiant statement. Right? So now we turn next to a very big statement, because NTUCB often makes statements demanding more. But this next one is huge. It's from the 4 independent senators. There are 4 independent senators: Kevin Herrera representing the business sector, Louis Wade, and we have the picture of it. Louis Wade representing the churches, Glenfield Dennison representing labor, and Janelle Chanona representing the NGO community.
Okay.
And they put out a unified statement that is unprecedented. They said, we align with the calls made by Chamber of Commerce and NTUCB to pause all decisions related to the acquisition of commercial assets by BTL, pending full disclosure of all relevant information, including but not limited to independent valuation. So they want all the working papers. We believe any decision to transfer the telecommunications landscape to a monopoly is regressive. Important statement, but this is the one. In keeping with our oath to uphold the constitutions and the Constitution and principles of social justice, we, the social partners, senators, serve notice that we will act as a unified bloc to exercise our powers and functions as senators to counter what we deem to be a sordid initiative. What does that mean? There's no, this isn't going to Parliament. This acquisition is proposed. So what does it mean to say you will exercise a unified bloc? I suspect it means, you see, the independent senators can give the government a lot of trouble. Every legislation that is passed, or most of it, except for money bills, has to be approved by the Senate.
Got you.
If they act as a unified bloc with the opposition, who is always ready to oppose, and say nothing will pass the Senate until you bring this matter to Parliament, to the people. If they do that, the government has a problem. If they do that, the government has a problem.
Do you think that that will stall the eventual,
No. Remember now, this is a commercial arrangement. So the BTL is saying, this is commercial. This is just contracts between companies. This don't have to go to Parliament.
Right.
But, and you'll hear this point later in the news, it was put to the chairman today, no. BTL is a publicly owned private company.
Yes,
it may not be taxpayers' money in there, but it is public money.
Yeah, it's public.
It is public money. Government owns 49%, Social Security owns a third. 33%. That is public money. That's in BTL. Also, the acquisition of BTL cost the government of Belize that taxpayers had to pay $650 million. They had to pay that to the Ashcroft Alliance. Very costly.
Wow.
So I am saying that there is a public interest, and what the independent senators are alluding to is going to bring this thing to Parliament. Bringing it to Parliament is bringing it to the people. And I am telling you, from the furious pace in which events have developed this week, the government is not on that speed.
Okay.
Let me refrain, not the government, the deal makers. And I regret to report again that the Prime Minister has showed his hand by making calls. But the deal makers behind the scenes, I won't include the Prime Minister in that. The deal makers have to get this done now. You know why? Because of the stage of the political cycle.
Okay.
Because light bill going up, water bill going up, property tax going up. Everything is going up. And they have to act urgently to seal this off.
Yeah.
Because $50 million, 170, the whole quantum is a lot of money. So I'm moving on from that very provocative statement from the senators, very unprecedented, to NEAB. They just issued one, that's a National Evangelical Association, and they are saying the National Evangelical Association is shocked to hear of the severely questionable acquisition of SpeedNet, NextGen Centaur, and Southern Cable Network. This proposed purchase already appears reprehensible by the nation of Belize to a blatant conflict of interest. This issue is lacking proper public consultation. So that is a strong statement.
Yeah.
The independent senators, so you see the language here, the independent senators called it a sordid initiative.
Sordid initiative, yeah.
That's what they called it. So I'm just saying the language is stepping up, and I'm going to draw a parallel here.
Okay.
Things, and there's a chamber yesterday, right? The statement from the chamber, which we have footage of, that was a very strong statement as well. You see how these things are starting to accumulate. This is what happened. I was around in 2007 when the government decided to try and push through a loan that would have gone to one of the Ashcroft affiliates to pay back for universal health services after a secret guarantee was made by the government. My point is, this is a gathering storm. Narda Garcia, who is a member of the board, knows this path very well. Narda Garcia, forgive me, has PTSD from SSB. Narda Garcia was there when the SSB board was involved with the entire Glenn Godfrey quagmire. She lost her job. I believe she was made the fall person for that job because of the role she played on the SSB board at that time. There are people who remember what happened in that era, 2004 to 2007. And this is very early, but this is starting to have shades, and Mr. Briceño has to be aware because there is no cabinet minister, just like the Josemaya and the Badback, who will jump out in front of this and say, I stand with the Prime Minister, or I stand with BTL, whoever. I stand with BTL in supporting this. There is none, because none of them have been told. None of them have been briefed. So they are in a perilous position. Now, the vote was supposed to go through today. Now that it did not.
Yeah, the vote was deferred. So just to wrap up everything you're saying, Jules, because there's so much to unpack here. But what I'm hearing too is that there seems to be, from the people who experienced what happened in the past, a collective anxiety about the storm that's brewing, that this will happen again. So that's what I'm hearing. And then also, the vote was deferred. There seems to be some infighting. There's resignations happening. There's political secrecy. There's the 4 senators who are a unified bloc, and they want to pause all the decisions. So with all that being said, and everything that you said in that nice little wrapped bowl, I put everything in a little present for you, not so little bowl. What happens next?
What happens next? I believe this was a deal that the framers wanted to conclude today, wanted BTL to vote on today. Now that they have not, it becomes a leaky dory. And it could capsize. And I think that the deal makers will have to decide how far they are prepared to go with this.
Okay.
How far are they prepared to go with this? There's going to be a huge examination. Is it worthwhile to buy 3 cable companies, as they call them now, fiber optic content providers? It's an Orwellian transplant of terms, but I'm saying that there's going to be a lot of public scrutiny, and it's not going to be good. And at this time, if they are wise, the framers would say, boy, reel and come again. But I don't know. Most of us don't know what it's like to see $50 million materializing and then disappearing.
Yeah.
And so we have to wait and see. But let's, I know we still have a lot of coverage ahead, so thanks for giving me the time to give that background.
Thank you, Jules. Thank you so much for the update on where things stand right now. And we'll cover this more, I'm sure, as the time goes on and the story develops. So, and thanks for all the, updates about the context and today's events as well. We'll hear more about that later. So, but now we turn to this morning's extraordinary press conference called by the chairman of BTL. Jules was there and has a story.
He stood, he sat, he laughed, he frowned, he scolded. Chairman Mark Lizarraga held forth in the BTL boardroom today as he tried to sashay through the media's onslaught like a hot knife through butter. And after months of avoiding the issues, the BTL chairman took on all questions in an hour-long press encounter. He says the proposed acquisition of 4 telephone and cable companies is because the market is saturated with competitive excess.
What has happened is that the industry has overcapitalized, has become inefficient as a result of that, really, because it's wasted resources. And who pays for all of this overcapitalization and this duplication of resources? It's the consumer. So the whole move from way back in 2018 was to see how we could consolidate and become more efficient as an industry. And we see revenues really flatlining. The population, I believe, is not exploding.
Sounds like a regulatory problem to us, but Lizarraga says it's an obligation to the public owners.
If we continue along this path of inefficiency in the industry, the people and government of Belize and the workers of Belize through the Social Security Board will not receive the return on investment that they should have in a logical time frame.
And so he was here to explain to the press the commercial logic of buying a struggling phone company and 3 cable companies in 2025.
But because some people in the press have access to information that is not always accurate, we thought it best to try and bring you the real facts today. The process continues, and when that process comes to an end, we would be coming back to you all.
But the problem with this acquisition is the many overt conflicts of interest.
So, sir, how do you divorce yourself from the inherent, implicit, intrinsic conflict of interest in the fact that your brother, no discredit to him, is the owner of CTI or NextGen, as also the part owner of Southern Cable Network? And these 2 companies I expect in this package will net him at least $60 million from the sale. You have been at the forefront of this, and how do you escape that ineluctable conflict that you've been negotiating with your brother on one side and the man who appointed you to the board, his family, Jaime Briceño, on the other side?
Okay. Let me answer you in this way. One of the first things we did when we came to BTL was we put in a conflict of interest policy. As well, you will know, we put in, I shouldn't be telling you this, you know this already. We put in the small shareholder as the chairperson for the internal audit subcommittee of the board. That chairperson reports directly to the board, not to the CEO or not to the chairman as was once the practice. So we've tried to separate that. When the conversations became serious this time around, I declared my potential conflict, the perception of conflict. We have a declaration form that the company has whenever we're in these positions. Directors have used it in the past when they perceived conflict situations. And I'll be honest with you, my position when it comes to the board will be that I will have to recuse myself.
And that recusal didn't sit well with some directors who felt Lizarraga left them to hold a very questionable bag. And that board meeting was set to start right after this press conference, where a handful of directors could make decisions that would define the telecom's future of Belize.
We've called a board meeting. We're going to continue with the presentations today, and then the board will decide how it moves forward.
As speculation continues over potential acquisitions within Belize's telecommunications sector, questions are mounting about transparency, competition, and the public's role in decisions that could reshape a critical national service and the telecoms landscape. The concerns about monopoly power and whether formal public consultations should precede any major moves were put to Chairman Lizarraga today. Here's more.
Do you believe that monopoly is something that Belize that people want and deserve? And will BTL commit to a formal public consultation process before any acquisition is made?
Again, two things. This is a private company, so the decisions that we make here not necessarily need public consultations, but we will have public disclosures. One. Two, I tried to set the backdrop that as an essential service provider, we play a critically important role in communications in this country and the safeguarding of that communication. We play a critical role in communications along the highways. We play a critical role for business, for government, for everybody, for the TVs, for everybody. We have to have robust investments in infrastructure to be able to give the consumers of this country the reliability of service that they have come to expect from us. And it requires substantial investment. Investment that when you buy, well, no, I'll give you for example. Remember in the old days, you had to have one typewriter, you had to have one fax machine, you had to have one computer, you had to have one telephone separate. No, everything there, right? So when we buy equipment as well now, that new equipment, that by the way, the lifespan only 5 to 7 years, and you have to change, we have to make sure that we use the capacity in that equipment that we're investing in. That's only wise, right?
Substantial investment, but the fact is that taxpayers already have a very substantial investment in BTL. And tonight, questions are being raised about secrecy, public money, and where corporate duty ends and national interest begins. Today, the media pressed the issue in detail.
Why is it that you cannot disclose? You've spoken about an NDA. It's about purchasing local companies. It's not companies that are outside in the game competing against BTL for
Marisol, no business that I know of, none, no private company that I know of would enter into negotiations with another private company and have the discourse in the public.
Because
we are
you have $450 million of the government's money, the people's money invested in this company, and you're choosing to move it to a monopoly, and the people are concerned about this. There are no safeguards. Stakeholders, the public sector is calling for there to be legislation in relation to this. Legislation has been put in place before when these types of transactions are being done.
We sit here and we make decisions in the best interest of the company. We don't make national policy. We don't make national policy. We make policy that, or here we make decisions that are in the best interest of this company and its shareholders. You're looking at the noise in the market. We are focused on the performance of this company because we have a fiduciary responsibility for the performance of this company. We're looking at a potential opportunity that we believe is in the best interest of everyone.
But your biggest stakeholder is the government, and today, in today's press conference, you are saying that your biggest shareholder does not need to be notified.
My biggest shareholder,
it's just the directors who are going to make this decision.
My biggest shareholder, as all shareholders, represent people on this board. When you send people to the board, those board members, their first responsibility is that the company. It's very clear. When you sit here around this table, your first responsibility is to this company.
But what they aren't telling you about the acquisition is how it will impact the staff of the companies being acquired. As is well established, mergers and acquisitions often result in layoffs. When asked about employee protection, this is what the chairman had to say.
Thank you.
Smart.
Thank you.
Should they be concerned about their jobs?
The policy,
that's an important question.
I'll answer that question because it is an important question.
I like the bet.
The policy, you see, you want to realize that when you go there and spew this type of thing, it impacts people's lives. It creates uncertainty.
The public is going to be impacted.
But let me say it. Marcel, give me a break to finish up. Out of respect for you, give me an opportunity. The company is always looking for opportunities to grow. As we continue to grow towards a more techno-driven company as well, we believe there will be enough opportunities to place a lot more people into the organization. The companies will not disappear overnight. There will be a long period of transition, right? So that's the best way I can answer it.
Still tonight, staff from the 4 companies involved are very concerned for what lies ahead for them. And we're talking hundreds of people. But tonight, things remain static. No decision to move forward has been taken. And some of the pushback from the directors has been dissatisfaction with the financial forecast given to them. And we have asked why. No international expert was brought in to do an independent assessment. Moore's Belize LLP was the accounting firm chosen to assess and evaluate the financial aspect of this acquisition. Ian Cleverly, Digi's financial officer and senior partner for Moore's, Ronaldo Magana, broke down why Moore's was chosen and why it's a good fit.
Moore's have had access to their global team to support us on the technical evaluations, the pricing mechanisms. So we have had expertise from outside of Belize, outside of LATAM, working with Moore's. So we've used a global firm to do that for us.
For this engagement, they had also worked on major engagements in Brazil, such as the Telemon Group, which is a group that generates over 5 billion in revenues in Brazil. So we have the experience in the telecom sector and also experience in mergers and acquisitions and also valuation services done internationally and globally.
But what they didn't disclose is that Magana is a prime ministerial appointment to the board of the International Financial Services Commission. When pressed about his favor, he denied any association.
Also, in conducting these types of engagements, I'm not doing it alone. I involve experts and advisors from outside of the Moore Global Network who have reviewed and signed up our work at the same time. So it's not me doing this all by myself. It's a team of experts, advisors, evaluators, and they have provided independent checks and balances to ensure that the work that we have performed stands up to scrutiny.
Would you say that you are politically favored by the Prime Minister?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not the SSB Investment Committee anymore.
And while the financial side is one thing, what about the regulatory side? There's been nothing heard from the PUC. A spokesperson from the Public Utilities Commission told us that they have received the application of intent of the acquisition, but that it is under review. Here's what the BTL chairman said about it in detail.
Granted, you're talking, what we're proposing falls under the remit of the PUC. And we have had conversations with the PUC telling them why we're proposing to do what it is that we're proposing to do. Granted, we have our own interests and why we're doing it, because we have a duty to the company and the performance of the company and the shareholders, as well as the employees, as well as the consumers who are our owners as well. So we have to take care of everybody. No, the PUC has concerns. And I'll tell you, one of the concerns they have is that the legislation is not current for the monopoly situation, if that's what you want to call it.
And we take a break now, but when we come back, you'll hear what the UDP has to say about the proposed BTL acquisition. And Belize's two-time Tony Award-winning Broadway star, Cara Young, she was at the Birds Out today for the unveiling of her Alex Sanker portrait. You'll see it and more. Stay tuned for more news.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
After you have earned enough B-Bucks, you can spend them. Remember, B-Bucks is as good as cash. It's free money.
Shop at any Benny's location or Benny's entity. Download the B-Bucks app and sign up to be eligible. It's fast and easy.
B-Bucks, rewarding loyalty.
No Wi-Fi.
You might want to sing it note for note, don't worry.
Yo, bro, need your help.
Happy.
Excuse me, class.
In every life we
Bro, I
have
have smart
some
people, that's what
trouble. But when you worry, you make it double, don't worry. Be happy.
Wherever the coastal road takes you, don't worry, be happy. Smart has you covered. Smart, bringing people together.
Need to submit your sickness benefit claim online and have a physical medical certificate? Here's how you can do it. First, go to ssbportal.org.bz and log into your My Social Security account. Next, on your dashboard, click Benefits and choose Forms. Review the requirements, then click Continue to proceed. Click Apply under Sickness Benefit to start your claim. Review and confirm your banking information. If it is not correct, select No and follow the steps to update your banking details. If your banking information is correct, select Yes. Next, if your illness is not related to an injury at work, select No and proceed to upload your medical certificate. Select your claim period and confirm your employer details. Read the declarations and click each to agree. Click Submit and you're done. A confirmation email will be sent to you. Your employer will also receive an email with your claim details and a request for your salary information. If needed, submit your sickness benefit claim online and receive real-time status updates.
En Atlantic Bank, tu comodidad es nuestra prioridad. Nuestro centro de contacto está diseñado para mejorar tu experiencia bancaria, con una amplia gama de opciones de servicio al cliente. Ahorras tiempo y esfuerzo. Puedes llamar fácilmente para bloquear o desbloquear tus tarjetas de débito y crédito. realizar consultas de cuentas y acceder a información detallada de tus tarjetas. Ya sea que necesites asistencia con la banca en línea, apoyo para comercios o consultas generales, nuestro equipo está listo para ayudarte. Para mayor comodidad, si todos los operadores están ocupados, puedes dejar tu número y un operador te devolverá la llamada lo antes posible para asegurarse de que recibas el apoyo que necesitas. Para mayor seguridad, es posible que necesitemos verificar tu identidad con un conjunto de preguntas sencillas. Recuerda, Atlantic Bank nunca solicitará tu nombre de tu usuario ni contraseña de Atlantic Online por llamada telefónica, mensaje de texto o correo electrónico, asegurando que tu información personal permanezca segura y protegida. Nuestro equipo de apoyo está disponible de lunes a viernes, de 8 a.m. a 6 p.m. en inglés y en español. Simplemente marca al 223-1212. Esta es la línea dedicada para nuestro centro de contacto. Atlantic Bank se compromete a brindarte un servicio excepcional y las herramientas que necesitas para administrar tus finanzas de manera conveniente y segura. Aprovecha al máximo nuestro servicio del centro de contacto.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Nando's Wholesale is the distributor for the full line of Badia spices, including the original complete seasoning, the perfect combination of ingredients and spices prepared to enhance the natural flavor of your favorite foods. Also, cinnamon powder for all your desserts, fruits, and beverages, and as special dishes. All these are available in commercial sizes or restaurant packaging. Nando's products are available at your local retailer or contact us at 222-5000. From Corozal to Toledo, Nando's is proud to be serving Belize as its #1 wholesale distributor for over 35 years.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
We continue our newscast tonight with the murder that shocked Belmopan, and tonight a man has been charged for killing delivery man and single father Mark Gabriel. Camelot resident 25-year-old Wilhelm Koyi has been formally arrested and charged for murder. Koyi is accused of being the man on motorcycle who shot Gabriel at rush hour just outside of Sunny City Supermarket. Police say it was a robbery attempt. And continuing with crime news, 24-year-old John Carlos Quilter of Ladyville was arraigned today in connection with the 2023 murder of 21-year-old James Kelvin Bainton, who was fatally shot at the Ladyville Sports Complex. Quilter appeared unrepresented at the Belize City Magistrates Court, where he was read a single charge, that is, of murder. No plea was taken, bail was denied, and he was remanded to the Belize Central Prison until March 16th. The charge stems from the night of May 4th, 2023, when Bainton was shot following an altercation at the Ladyville Sports Complex and later died at the Price Barracks Medical Center. And now turning our attention to one of our top stories. Two-time Tony Award-winning actress, born to Belizean parents, Cara Young, is in Belize visiting, and we met her today at the unveiling of a portrait of her. The artist, Alex Sanker, describes it as a landmark piece that will remain in Young's family for generations as a record of her historic achievements, namely that she's the first Black actor to win back-to-back Tony Awards. Our very own Jo Marie Lanza was at the unveiling and got to meet Young. Here's that story.
They chose Bird's Isle as the setting today to unveil an original painting inspired by Tony Award-winning Belizean actress Cara Young. According to her mother, this is where former queens of the Bay in her family were crowned and where boxing matches organized by her grandfather were held. And so it only felt right to keep on with that tradition in making history. Cara was present today at the event and spoke with us a bit about what being back in Belize meant to her, especially on this occasion.
It always feels like every time I come here, I feel like I'm just a little bit more rooted. I've been coming here for my whole life. And, when you're a child, when you're a kid, you don't really understand the importance of the foundation that has been laid. But both of my parents are born and raised here. And every time I come here as an adult, I feel like I'm more rooted in my ancestry. I'm always honored when people think of me. That's number one. I can't even believe that I'm thought of in this light, right? And when I heard that Alex had interest in painting me, I was incredibly honored, but also incredibly honored because he's a Belizean artist, and for him to immortalize a moment that happens to be very historical within our family, which is weird for me to even say that because I'm always like, wow, I can't believe I'm just in it. I'm so in it that I don't realize that I'm in it. And but it happens to be a very historical moment for the family and also for Belize. What's been really beautiful is the impact that it has made for Belizeans in the diaspora. And Belizeans here in Belize. I feel so honored to immortalize the moment and to be painted by a Belizean artist.
And the creative artist himself, Alex Sanker, told us why he decided to paint Cara, inspired by her recent achievements and awards in her acting career.
This painting that she will get today, due to the fact that the statement behind it, this is going to be in her family for generations, man. I mean, I go to Europe and I see painting 400 years up on wall in museum. So the painting itself is historical, but yet it's something that she could treasure. I think with painting, this type of painting is that commercial art. She's going to have this where I don't think the Lamborghini, the house, the nothing, no care where we own in life, it's not going to be, this is priceless because it's one of a kind. Everything else, there's copy. But this is one of a kind. So I think personally it's huge for me to actually meet her and know she has Belizean roots. She's Belizean as far as I'm concerned. And I like to big up people like that because, I mean, hey, you have to give people flowers, right? And that's the way I did it basically.
The painting features both an American and Belize flag connecting Cara to her roots. He also painted her wearing her iconic green dress when she accepted her Tony Award for Best Featured Actress in a play for her role in Pearly Victorious. She is the first Black actress to be Tony nominated in 4 consecutive years. We asked Young what advice she would give to young persons who hope to follow in her footsteps.
I think that we have to follow our dreams and we have to be supported by people. So like when we talk about the youth, we have to support the youth's dreams. We have to pour into the youth and our elders. I always feel that way. The importance of your dream is honoring yourself. And if you have dreams and if they are big and bold and colorful and you can see the thing, then it is absolutely possible. And there is always someone to help. There is always someone to reach out to. Sometimes you have to do your research to find the people who can actually help you succeed. But I believe that everyone can fulfill their dreams.
Jo Marie Lanza, 7 News.
Young was most recently featured in a play called Gruesome Playground Injuries. And turning back now to BTL. Earlier in the newscast, we brought you the press conference BTL held this morning. Following the conference, the UDP issued a release, also calling on the board to refrain from approving the proposed acquisition of SMART. This afternoon, the leader of the opposition held a press briefing where she criticized the lack of transparency surrounding the proposed acquisition. But words on paper or in front of a camera don't count much. So what else is the UDP prepared to do to fight against the deal? We asked Pantan. Here's a response.
Telecommunications, as you know, affects all sectors of life in this country. Education, households, the productive sector. And so it is a national asset that needs to be protected in the public's interest. The problem with this arrangement that we see is that there's no information available, absolutely none. And we insist that there be transparency. We insist that there be full disclosure to the Belizean people. This is a publicly owned company owned by the Belizean people. And we insist that their proper feasibility and viability assessments are done to ensure that we are getting benefit for whatever arrangements this acquisition will bring to the table.
What is the opposition prepared to do? You know, we can send out press releases and hold press conference, but what happens next to ensure that the government, you know, that they look closer at this deal?
Well, I think we made it clear in our press statement this morning that we are prepared to do whatever is lawful, civil disobedience, if that is required. We have been engaged with our civil society partners, with the unions, and we intend to work very closely. Belizean people, as you know, are in an uproar, and they have had enough. This is on the heels, Courtney, of the BL situation. This is on the heels of the cost of living continue to spiral out of control. This is on the heels of $69 million being borrowed for 15 miles of road. This is on the heels of property taxes being increased by 18%, and BL rates increase and water rates being increased. When is enough enough? Where will the $170 million come from? And who is expected to bear the burden? Who will be saddled with that debt?
4 of the independent senators have written committing to form sort of a unified bloc, you know, as far as their powers lend them to. Will the UDP join them?
As I said before, we are engaged not only with our civil society partners and with the unions, but we're also engaged at the parliamentary level. So definitely our lead senator has been and will continue to liaise with members, his colleagues on that side, to see how best we can have a unified approach to this issue.
Pantan also criticized the Prime Minister for misrepresenting his knowledge of the acquisition, as well as the board's chairman for his secrecy. She said Lizarraga should resign.
I think you can always tell when the Prime Minister is lying. He deflects. This was a matter that was raised in the National Assembly by the United Democratic Party. The Honorable Lee Marchang raised it. We raised it at a press conference that the UDP had recently. We have repeatedly asked questions about this initiative. You know, you hear the rumors in the pipeline, you hear the rumblings, and every time the question has been asked, the Prime Minister deflects. And the more he deflected, the louder the rumors became. I am very doubtful that that deal will be brokered today. I think the public pressure that has come to bear, the fact that I understand now 2 members of the board have resigned as a result of this situation, the fact that they're not able to have a consensus position by the board, at least not today, the fact that the Telecommunication Workers Union have demanded a meeting with management to get disclosure as well. Nobody seemed to have known about this, not even the management of BTL. Something is grossly wrong with that situation.
Should the chairman be forced to resign?
Absolutely, with immediate effect. You cannot come to the public and say, well, I know there's an inherent conflict of interest. I acknowledge that, and I have signed a disclosure to say it's a conflict of interest, and still be the mover and shaker behind a deal that, again, betrays the trust, public trust, and does not serve the interests of this nation.
And while the proposed acquisition can be criticized for a lack of transparency, business types will ask, will it make BTL more profitable? Well, the business case can be made for acquiring Smart, but what about those cable companies? Somehow the value of these companies seem to have suddenly appreciated over time, despite cable being in a global downturn. The chairman says the profitability lies in the content. Here's more.
In 2020, I believe, Centaur was offered to the same company in February of 2020 for under 15 million, and I know they're paying close to 25 million in this package. Southern Cable Network, I know, was sold for under 5 million, close to 5 million, and I'm told it's being put in this package for 10. And I know factually that Central Television and Internet Next Gen was offered to this company in 2018. Negotiations were held for 36 million, I believe, and now it's upwards or in the vicinity of 50 million. These are cable companies, sir. These are dinosaurs. How is it that their value has appreciated so significantly in these years of cable decline worldwide?
Okay, let me tell you something. First of all, these companies are not, in our view, cable companies. We're focused more on the broadband side, on the fiber. These companies have been, as you well know, moving over to a fiber backbone and fiber infrastructure. So then, first of all, they're not cable. We call them content over fiber now. That's the drift. That's where it's going. So what has a significant value for us, quite frankly, is the customer base and the cash flows. That is.
You didn't answer my question on profitability, though.
Well, I was going to ask Ian or Mr. Magania because I haven't looked at all. This is their responsibility. I just get the global picture.
And going to a SpeedNet or Smart, we asked why BTL prefers to buy over the competition when they can force them out of business through cutthroat competition. A heated exchange between the press and the chairman. He said that they are buying over more than technology. Here's more.
I'm told the price is 80 million. Why buy them out?
I've already explained to you that because
when you can just
our
lead
group,
them today. You can just outcompete them and crush them through competition.
That is one way. Then who is going to find the money to invest in all the technical investments that we need to make?
They have a HSPDA system. What are you buying? You all are on LTE.
I've already told you, we are looking at the value of the cash flows and the consumers because we have excess capacity on our network.
Yes, but if you kill them through natural attrition, then the customers have to come to you anyway. I'm just saying that it seems that it is a package, and the chamber alluded to this, sir, that it's a package for private, that serves private interests and not clearly the public interests. It seems like private enrichment.
that's the seed that you have quite planted quite well. And I'm hoping that I'm hoping that at the end of the day, you will see that what we're doing is in the best interest of the company, and that the savings, the efficiencies that will come to the market, rather than continuing the race to the bottom, which is of no good to nobody, especially when we have a responsibility of maintaining our network to a certain standard.
I understand you declared your conflict of interest, but how do you negotiate with your own brother? How do you negotiate with the family of the man who appointed you? Isn't that so inescapable that even a declaration of conflict will not save you from the overwhelming nature of this conflict of interest?
You will always have your way of looking at things. The way, the way to do it is that we get independent verification of as to whether it is in the best interest of the company. When I sit here, I'm very clear as to where my fiduciary responsibility lies.
Meanwhile, earlier this week, Minister Francis Fonseca said that the ombudsman's vacant post would be filled by the end of the month. But there's no indication at this point who the new ombudsman will be. The leader of the opposition said the fact that such an important office remains empty is just the PUP's MO. Here's more.
It's the status quo of this administration. We didn't have an accountant general for almost 2 years. We didn't have an auditor general. Now we don't have an ombudsman, yet the Prime Minister continues to tout that they are a government that is committed to transparency and accountability, to oversight. We have not yet seen in an entire term of this administration an audited financial report coming out of the Auditor General's office. We're still reviewing reports that are 10 years old. And when I was the chairperson of the Joint Public Accounts Committee, I convened a meeting with the Minister of Finance and with the Financial Secretary, with the Accountant General, with the Auditor General, to say the system is broken and we need to fix it. And we're 10 years behind. Let's start working on current reports so that we can monitor where we can improve and strengthen the financial system in this country. And it fell on deaf ears. They have no interest, in my opinion, to provide the kind of oversight that is required when using the people's money.
We also asked Panton her thoughts on the kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro by the U.S. and Belize towing a thin line between two of its allies. She added that Belize's position is even more precarious due to Guatemala's claim.
The U.S. is an important ally for Belize, and we often say that when the U.S. sneezes, Belize catches a cold. But we also are in a very precarious situation. Belize continues to deal with the territorial threat from Guatemala. And we believe there are certain things we believe in, right? We believe in your sovereignty. We believe in a nation's right to self-determination. We believe in international law. And we also believe the fact that if you're right, you're right, and if you're wrong, you're wrong. And certainly we cannot countenance that any country, any sovereign nation should have to be subject to that kind of what I refer to as bullying by a superpower.
And yesterday, the former UDP leader wrote a letter to the current leader, who he addressed as Tracy Garcia. In the letter, Shine Barrow stated that he is the duly elected caretaker for the Mesopotamia division and that Lee Mark Chang has no legitimate standing under UDP. Barrow claims that there were never any conventions in that constituency, and Chang wasn't endorsed by Barrow, who was the then leader. But today, Panton says she's not wasting her time or energy on Barrow. Here's more.
We have a representative of Mesopotamia, an elected area representative in the National Assembly. That is the Honorable Limar Chang. And that's all I will say about that matter.
What do you make of the way Ms. Sabara addressed you in the letter he sent, in using an incorrect name or an old name maybe?
I really don't have the energy or the time to give that any kind of credence or response. The simple fact is the United Democratic Party has a duly elected area representative for MESOP, and that person is the Honorable Limar Chang.
And we take a break now, but when we come back, you'll see Courtney learning the art of pottery. Stay tuned.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Champion security, champion security, champion security. Yeah, yeah. Your security is our business, so we gonna protect you like a champion, like a champion.
Guess what, Mr. Handsome? Yeah, over there, champion security. This is the place to be. What does sign say? Champion Security. Here at Champion Security, we provide quality service. You know why? Such as triology lock, fire alarm, IP camera system, gate operator, biometric lock, and alarm system. Champion Security. Make a go check out where they go on inside of Champion Security. And boy, nice to meet you, my brother. Yes. Tell me a little bit more about Champion Security.
Well, welcome, Mr. Hanson. Here at Champion Security, we offer fire system, alarm system, camera system, gate operator, access control, and also trilogy locks and magnetic locks. Everything you need to do with security systems for residential and businesses, you could find everything here at Champion Security. We also consist of 12 technicians, and we offer technical support 24 hours. So anything you need for your security systems, you could find everything here at Champion Security.
Remember, guys, here at Champion Security, we live by our motto, where safety is our business. Give us a call now. Don't forget to check us on Facebook, Instagram, and all the social media platforms. And continue to shake it to the max all the way. Champion Security, the best place to be. We care for your safety.
You want to rent it? That's not a problem. We got remote gate.
I'm Randolph Friesen, and I manage Westbell Produce, better known as Granny's Foods. That's our main brand. So we offer high quality grains, beans, rice, and we also offer corn chips made from 100% locally grown corn. We saw a need for high quality locally produced products. A lot of the best products are being exported, and we said, we need to keep some of the best products here in Belize rather than export everything. Atlantic Bank has helped us achieve our goals by providing the financing for us to be able to launch products faster than we would without the financing that they offer. We find that Atlantic Bank is very customer friendly, especially with small and medium-sized businesses. We find that Atlantic Bank is more than willing to go the extra mile. They try to understand your business. So when we go to Atlantic Bank with a certain need, we find that they try to develop a solution that will meet our specific need. I would encourage any small business owner to go to Atlantic Bank for their financial services. They're very friendly, and just overall, their service is excellent.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
These charter mints aren't from an navigating along the coast. This morning, the 2023 in the
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Shireen Halsell,
And here's what's ahead for you on 7 News Tonight. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight. Good evening with your news and the bureaucrat.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7. Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
We continue our newscast with a story we told you earlier this week. Belize's northern sugarcane industry is facing an existential crisis, including climate change and fusarium infestation. In that spirit, the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association and ASR-BSI this week signed an addendum to their commercial agreement, extending it for another year. A release says this extension will facilitate a smooth start to the 2026 crop season, slated to begin later this month. Chairman of the BSCFA, Fred Ortega, explained why they signed.
Well, in reality, it came about because we are seeing the situation with our farmers, and as you know, last crop was not a good crop because of the fusarium, the mealybug, and the other insects that were damaging the cane. So when we managed to see the problem that we had last crop, the damage was already done. This year, we're seeing that the canes are a little bit much better. So our farmers are really looking forward to deliver that cane, because they and we wouldn't want that any infestation can come about and then they will be losing what they have at point. Because if you see the history, if farmers are unable to deliver their cane, then they are unable to make back their money they invested. So based on that, the committee, the board, took this to the farmers in the general meeting and the meetings we had on the different branches, and the farmers approved that we go forward and sign this this agreement with BSI, on which we were proposing 3 and they came out proposing 1. And I want to clarify that because I heard in the news that they are saying that BSCFA was proposing 7. We have never proposed 7 in any signature of our agreement. We have always seen most 3, but this time BSI came out with 1, and then, well, the farmers agreed that we do so, and that is what transpired yesterday.
Ortega says government pumped thousands of dollars in resources to assist them during this difficult season. Here's more.
We would like to thank the government because, as you know, that through the Ministry of Agriculture, there was a first 500,000 installment that was granted for the control of the fusarium when it was brought out by the experts and by CIRDE and the board that there was an infestation. Then the government came out with another 2.5 million to assist the farmers, on which not only farmers of the BSCFA, but all farmers at large were assisted with that. And I think that there is still material for whenever the harvest starts, on which the plan is to intervene as soon as the harvest goes on. So we are thankful and we are grateful to the government that they gave that assistance, because it assisted our farmers at least in controlling the problems that we are facing in regards to. Many of it was being said that it was the fusarium, but what we saw and what we have seen is that the mealybug and the froghopper were the ones that were most damaging the cane fields. And with the intervention that was done, well, it really, we can see now how the cane have transformed from yellowish that it was before to more a green leaf that it is at this point. So the cane is growing, and we believe that we'll be having a better quality than last crop.
And now turning our attention to some other news. If you want to add some clay pottery to your home, Cecilia Ceramics has you covered. Open since 2023, this Cayo-based pottery studio makes everything from decor for high-end resorts to trinket trays, phone holders, wine stoppers, and much more. Last year, we visited the studio and got a first-hand look at the pottery process. Courtney Menzies has this story.
Before this toothbrush holder got to Table Rock Jungle Lodge, it started off as a ball of clay inside Celia Bedran's pottery studio. She's been making ceramic pots, trinket dishes, garlic graters, sculptures, and more for almost 3 years. But regardless of what she's making, it always starts with a clay ball thrown onto her wheel.
It's called throwing.
Okay.
They call it throwing because you have to throw the clay ball onto the wheel. But yeah. So right now I'm just centering the clay. I'm opening up the clay, making the vessel part of it now. And then I compress the clay with my fingers at the bottom so I don't get any S-cracks. At this stage, I'll start pulling. This is the part that's called pulling. So I pull the walls up.
The process from start to finish takes weeks. After the pot is sculpted, it is dried over the course of several days, trimmed, and left to dry again for another couple weeks. After that, it enters the kiln.
This is wet, this is dry. Okay.
And then so after it dries, it goes into the big oven.
Yeah, after it dries, it goes into this thing called a kiln. And these are my kiln gods. So in the Mayans, they didn't know why they would have explosions and stuff in the kiln, or cracks and stuff, and they would make these little gods that goes on the door opening up the kiln, and that would, they think that would protect the pots inside. This point is like, yeah, 2 weeks. A long process.
And before it's finished, the pot needs to be glazed and baked a second time.
Glaze is sort of like glass and clay particles and other minerals mixed together with water. And so when I apply it, see how the clay bodies absorbs the water, and that's what leaves the dry minerals onto the piece. And then I have to put like up to 2 to 3 layers of this to give it a nice opaque look. And it goes from this, I fire it again, and it turns into this. So you can see that the glaze, it goes in one color and it comes out another.
And that's a finished product?
This is the finished product.
Okay. And while we were there, we tried our hand at sculpting, and we can tell you, it's not as easy as it looks.
Gently squeeze and slowly pull up. Oh! I said gently and slowly. Come, spin the wheel, I'll fix it for you.
While we had some missteps along the way, for Bedran, she managed to make pottery her full-time career. She said the art form caught her attention over 10 years ago.
I first discovered ceramics in 2012 at school, so I always wanted to be an artist. But then I didn't know what area of art. I always thought I would go into painting. But then when I was at school, they showed us all the medias of art, and clay was one of them. And I thought, oh, like, this is great. Since 2023 is when I quit my full-time job and started ceramics full-time.
How did you know that you would have a level of success? You're able to like maintain your lifestyle?
Oh, it's up and down, really. Okay. It's not really success all the time, but certain times of the year, just like with tourist season, like high and low seasons, I have same thing.
And while she enjoys making toothbrush holders and soap dispensers for the resorts that contract her, she says she prefers pieces that take more time and attention. Like this sculpture that she says is her favorite.
I like to do sculptural artwork more than making plates and stuff.
Is it because it's more challenging?
It's challenging, and it's more like it takes a lot longer to make something like that. And it's so satisfying and rewarding.
And this was the result of the pot we made. though it won't be displayed in any hotels. But Bertrand also makes custom pieces and can be contacted through her Instagram page. Courtney Menzies, 7 News.
And that's all we have for you on 7 News on this Friday night. Thank you so much for watching. I am Miriam Abdul-Kawi. You can find a full transcript of the news at 7newsbelize.com and see the streaming video on our Facebook page. Have a good night and a great weekend, and join Indra Craig back here on Monday night. Have a good night, folks.